Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes Report for the past 48 hours. A lot of frontline changes, and everything is pro-Russia. So the reality is pro-Russia, very, very depressing for the Ukrainians. So, if you're pro-Ukrainian, close your eyes. No, don't see, listen, just listen enough. No, or you might have eyes bleed. So we're going to start off from the Vasily region in the Sivers front. So at the Sivers front, Russian forces have been recorded to be advancing around the Vasily and Vimka region. Russian forces advance further up along the railway line, as well as on the eastern part of the railway line, as well as advance in the northern part of Vasily. So this is disastrous for the Ukrainians, because once the Russian pass this hill region, the Russian forces can penetrate into the higher grounds and hit into the rear, bypassing the entire Ukrainian strongholds all along these hill regions north of Vasily. And so this is the frontline change over at the Sivers front at Vasily, as well as towards Vimka. So, and then there is frontline changes over at the Bakhmut front. So over at this Chasiv Yar direction. So this Chasiv Yar, this is actually also part of Chasiv Yar, but this have its own name. This micro district is also called Novoye or Novi or Canal micro district. A lot of different names. So the for this area here, the Ukrainian mapping shows that the Russian forces have actually arrived in this way, in this area here. So they have advanced in this direction and basically reached the outskirt, or basically even the first houses of the canal micro district or Novi. But Russian mapping is a bit different. So according to Russian mapping, they map that this entire forest region here is now under Russian control. The Russian forces have penetrated into the forest region, and they have landed troops into the first houses around here. So this is based on Russian mapping. Ukrainian mapping is only marked until this way. So but it's basically not very different. So not very different because the forest region, yeah, it is possible. You will probably see why there's a possibility that the Ukrainian forces, as the Russians are pushing very hard, has decided to withdraw from the forest and not fight them in the forest region, trying to fall back into the houses or into the building region where they might feel more comfortable. This actually happens also possibly in the Ivaniske, just south of it. According to Russian mapping, the entire forest region has been abandoned by the Ukrainian forces. The Russian forces seemingly have taken the entire southwest and western part of Ivaniske as they suddenly flood out and moving towards the canal. There is actually this canal around here, and according to unconfirmed reports, Russian forces even actually reached the canal already, at least part of the canal. So the Russian forces may actually have already reached this area here in a very, very fast advance. So we cannot verify this information yet, because this is too big of a change to really just take it for granted. The only geolocation is actually in the southern part of Ivaniske. This entire thing is a Russian claim. We cannot tell if this is the reality. In the northern part of Ivaniske, there is also changes. Russian forces basically straighten the line in the northern part of Ivaniske. Also Russian claims, and they are pushing towards this forest region where I believe the Ukrainians are actually holding the ground. But this is in stark contrast of what is happening in the south, where the Russian forces allegedly have already penetrated through most of this forest. So if you zoom out a bit, you can see that not just the Russians are making a huge push against the canal micro district, but they are also straightening the line just south of it, and they are probably going to continue to push through and support the attack in a different direction, which is something that the Russians nowadays like to do. They like to attack a settlement in two different directions, and then we have this massive push in the south. Unbelievable stuff. We will continue to monitor and see if this can be corroborated. The only thing that is now confirmed by the Ukrainian side is only this one. only this frontline change is Ukrainian endorsed. Everything else is just Russian claims. We will continue to wait and see if this can be corroborated. So very, very big changes, very serious changes over at this Bakhmut front. Other frontline change is over at the Avdiivka front at Badaichi. So there is this Ukrainian mapping change that shows that the Russian forces have taken this area here. So this is a disclaim of previous Ukrainian claims, and this slowly, going to come closer to what the Russian mapping is showing. However, there is actually a geolocation of Ukrainians getting bombarded by Russian forces. We cannot confirm if this is a dated thing. So tentatively, I'm going to ignore this for now, but there's a possibility that this is actually more recent, or like in the past 24 hours, then this invalidates the Russian advance to this point. So then the Russians maybe did not go that far. So, but we cannot tell because the situation on the ground is changing way too fast on the daily basis. The Ukrainian lines is trembling, they're like trembling, and at multiple points, we are seeing the Ukrainians losing a lot of grounds. I'm not sure if this is a real situation where the Ukrainians are really spent, and which is also why we are seeing a lot of huge movements, or maneuvers on the NATO side. Suddenly, they are taking the Ukraine war more serious. You should follow the main channel to follow all the latest geopolitical reporting if you are not already subscribed. If you are unsure, just join the DPA Telegram channel, or you will be able to follow all the latest videos I will be posting there. And of course, you can follow my opinions on X. I'm actually debating and talking to people a lot over at Twitter. So anyway, or just join the DPA forum and Discord to discuss with other like-minded people. Moving on, the next frontline change after Badaichi is over at Nevelske. It's also at the Avdiivka front. Over this area, just some small changes. Ukrainian mapping has confirmed that the Russian forces have taken this tree line around here, moving the front line slightly ahead. Just slightly. So just acknowledgement of the Russian capture of the entire of this tree line. And so just now Badaichi is around here. This is Badaichi, and this is Nevelske. So these are two frontline change. So the next frontline change is over at the Donetsk front, over at Novomikhailivka, just further south in this area here. So Russian forces, according to Ukrainian mapping, have moved further in the northern part of Novomikhailivka. The Ukrainian forces are unable to hold this position as per expected. However, in the southwestern part, there is geolocation of Russian forces continuing to move southwest of Novomikhailivka. They are moving westward, and this geolocation shows that the Russian forces have taken more grounds in this area here, and they are likely to continue to push westward to really shake up the entire strategic balance in this front line, and causing Ukrainians to have to replan everything. So this is currently happening, and I think there's still one last frontline change. Is over at Staromayorsk, over at the Donetsk front as well. So just now we were here at Novomikhailivka, so now we are at here, Staromayorsk. So at Staromayorsk, there is this Staromayorsk and this Uruzaini. Russian forces have taken some of this tree line over on this western part of Staromayorsk. For those that they say, this is just a few meters. This is not a few meters. This tree line captured is a kilometer long, almost a kilometer long. In terms of the depth, we are talking about more than 500 meters, more than half a kilometer, 600, 700 meter advance. So this is already one of the smaller advance. So some of the other ones are much bigger. So anyway, so don't estimate all this frontline change. A few meters, you can't really see this on this map, because a few meters is what? Just imagine a house. This is a house. This is a few meter. When we zoom out, when you draw one arrow, this is already a kilometer. So don't cope. It's bad for health. Anyway, thank you for watching. Because this frontline change, there's a lot, so I'm recording this as a separate video. I'll publish this first. I will record the SIP later with the strategy and tactical reporting, and I'll see you guys in the next update.